What's good, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 27 of Tune Check. I'm your host, Chris, and I feel like this episode might be a little short. I got some news, nothing too, lengthy or anything. And then I got two album reviews at the end that I want to talk about. So the first piece of news I wanted to get into is pretty much stemming from my last episode about, Drake and P&D and the album they dropped and then him being on tour and whatnot. So on my last episode, I had said that he pretty much was going to headline Wireless Festival. They asked him to headline 3 days, the first artist to do this. And when the tickets went on sale, it sold out within like minutes. So it became like the fastest sellout for like an artist for the Wireless Festival. I think they sold like 135K tickets or more. So if you were able to get your ticket, I know there's some people selling stuff online for the tickets and everything. Like I remember I put up like a TikTok and people was just commenting, "Oh, I'm selling this, I'm selling this," and I'm just like, "Yo, like I'm not even trying to go." I mean, it's cool for the exposure, but it's just like, damn, that's just funny as hell. They were just flooding me up. So he's still pretty much on tour in Australia, and he's basically just giving out money like every show, and people are just pulling up with like crazy ass signs, asking him for stuff. He ended up kicking out a pregnant lady from the mosh pit.
Somebody said they were 20 weeks pregnant in the pit. Get your ass out of the pit. Yes. Are you 20 weeks pregnant? Get out of the pit. Get out of there. Get the camera on her. Get that baby out of the pit ASAP. Come here, girl. Yo, Ravi. Get her some VIP tickets immediately at like $30,000. Stop going in the pit. Get that baby out of the mosh pit. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? What the hell? Who the fuck brings a baby to a mosh pit?
And it was just crazy because, like, why would you be pregnant in a mosh pit? And I thought it was funny, and his reaction was hilarious too. He'd been having his funny ass interactions with people. Shout out to him for helping out everybody with money, giving money out. I remember when I went to his tour, I think 2 years ago, he wasn't giving out no money. So shout out to the people in Australia. They definitely get in the bag if you're lucky enough. There was also a viral video of him throwing a sandal at a drone that popped out. And it turns out that somebody actually found the sandal. I genuinely thought that was all just promo for him mistake, but it turned out to actually be a thing. Then he posted up on his plot twist account of him throwing a Pokeball and shit. That shit had me crying, bro. And the people in the comments was just funny as fuck too. Like, I was rolling, yo. But on some other news, his album with Party Next Door, Some Sexy Songs for You, sold 249K units and it debuted at #1. So it makes Drake's 14th #1 album and Party Next Door's first #1 album. I think that's fire. I ended up copping the CD too because it just looks too tough. Like with the jewel case and the words on the side, I had to cop it. It was like $10. Like, why not? But that's amazing. And for an R&B album, that's pretty good too. But I think it was a dope album. Like I said, my reviews on my last episode. Definitely go check it out. I still listen to it to this day. Nokia's blowing up. It's probably going to be #1 soon. And then next we got Leon Thomas. My boy released his Tiny Desk.
Talking to you, I don't know what to say, but I can call up a stranger and talk my whole life away. Milwaukee margaritas, I didn't know that was a thing. Carry me home or marry me now, I promise you.
And it was amazing. His performance was amazing. His vocals live are amazing. His band was amazing. Everything about that whole thing was just great. And I love how he's like doing these live performances for these certain platforms, and it's just dope as fuck. Definitely go check it out if you haven't seen it. I enjoyed it. I played it like 4 times back to back. So far, they've been selecting really good artists to perform on their Tiny Desk, and it's turning out really good. Like a lot of these artists sound amazing live, and it's like artists that you wouldn't really expect to do a Tiny Desk sometimes. And speaking about great music, we got Coco Jones next. So she announced her debut album. It's coming out April 25th. I'm excited. I've really been enjoying her music as an artist. Her last album was pretty fire. Caliber, I play that shit like almost every other day because the thing is just a dope song. I love the beat on it. I think she killed it. And she also released a new song called Taste to promote her upcoming album, and it samples Britney Spears' Toxic. I think she did a great job. There were some people saying that it doesn't really fit, but I think she did a great job, especially with the video. She's really coming into her own as an artist, and she's definitely showing people what she could do. And also her voice is amazing. Her range is amazing. So I'm excited for this album. I'm definitely check it out. I'm definitely give my review. But shout out to Coco Jones for doing her thing. But speaking about new music, we got Quavo next. He released the song Trappa Rappa and a video.
She ate at the gym and she started the film that was all on the chin and the lip. Walking that bit with a 10-piece nigga would have thought I was a motherfucker.
And to be honest, this actually sounds pretty fire. Like lately, he's kind of been missing with his music. Like the songs he released previously were pretty trash in my opinion, but this one is pretty good. I love the beat. I love his flow. I think he did a dope job. The video is cool too, but honestly, like I'm just happy that he's finally like releasing good music. The song was fire. I enjoyed it. I played it. It's been on my playlist so far, so I'm pretty happy about it, and I'm excited to see what else he comes out with. And then next, we got Durand Bernarr. So he announced his You Gonna Grow tour, and it starts in April. You know, he just released the album last week on Tuesday. Surprised us all. I loved it. I enjoyed it. That's one of the albums I'm going to be talking about in a few minutes. And to be honest, it's looking like I might have to go because his last project was one of my top 10 of last year. And he's just an amazing vocalist. He's definitely underrated and he needs to like, blow up. So I think I might have to pull up. I think I might have to cop some tickets. Next, we got ASAP Rocky. You know, he's been in the headlines recently because of his court issues and stuff. So he was on trial for a gun assault. And it turns out he was found not guilty. If you guys remember, back in 2022, he was charged with 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. These charges came from a 2021 altercation he had with ASAP Relly, who basically said that Rocky shot at him. So he got his verdict and, he was found not guilty. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to be held accountable for that. Like, he got Rihanna behind him, got that money behind him, got Roc Nation behind him. So they definitely was looking out for him. So when he got his verdict, he just like jumped onto Rihanna and his mom hugging him, and people was making memes about it and shit.
The jury in the above entitled action find the defendant, Rakeem Mayers, not guilty of
as they should, because everybody was happy. I'm happy that he's not going to jail. But I feel like we all knew this, like I said, but still, something to celebrate. Even Rihanna posted up on her IG saying, glory to God. And then later on, Rocky posted on social media, don't be dumb. He also teased the track on social media as well.
Like me and these rappers, we nothing alike. Paradise, roll the dice, and a roll the dice. This time I roll the tick, know my time is next.
It was sounding alright. It wasn't like nothing crazy. But I am excited that this album's coming out because it's been delayed and pushed back so many times. But I just hope it does not disappoint, especially because Metro Boomin even posted up on social media and it basically confirmed that he's working on Don't Be Dumb with ASAP Rocky. I think he might do a few of the tracks. If it's an album where he's producing the whole thing, it's probably going to be fire because I love Metro Boomin. I think he's a dope producer. But if it's only a few tracks, still, I give it the benefit of the doubt because of Metro Boomin. But like I said, I hope it doesn't disappoint because I've been excited for this album. I've been saying we need some ASAP music for real. I'm looking forward to this. I hope he really delivers on this, and I honestly will be disappointed if he doesn't. I hope it comes out soon because he's been teasing and doing this shit for a minute. Man thinks he's Kanye, just teasing it, pushing it back, delaying it. Like, nah, bro, just drop that shit right now. Like, I want to wake up to this shit tomorrow morning, listen to it, but I know that's not gonna happen. He was also named the creative director of Ray-Bans, their first creative director. So I think that's dope. So my boy beat the case. He announced his album or, mentioned it that it's coming out soon, I hope. And he's getting a bag. Yo, my man's set right now. Living the dream. Got 3 for 3. Shout out to ASAP for real because I really hope he drops this album. I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat myself, but ASAP Rocky needs to drop this album because he's really been playing with us. And I do not want the hype to pretty much overshadow the actual project. Like, that's what I hate too. Like, when people keep gassing their project up and then when you get it, it's not as dope or as fire as it's supposed to be because they overhyped it. That's what I'm scared of. And then, speaking about music releasing, we got J. Cole next. So my boy dropped his song Clouds.
Please believe these blows, your weak flows right out the wall.
All right, so first he dropped it on his blog at Thursday night. I was like, cool. Went to his blog, heard it. My boy was spitting bars. You already know Cole's gonna destroy any track he's on. Man's really in his prime, like he said. And then he released it on streaming on Friday, so I was happy as fuck. I've been listening to it like crazy as well. I think it's a dope track. I love J. Cole. I'm a big ass J. Cole fan. One of my favorite artists for real. I don't give a fuck what anybody got to say about him and the rap beefs. Man's still a GOAT. But I was really fucking with this song. He was coming with the bars. His flow was amazing. Even the first verse just off rip, he was just going in and really just delivering. He says that he's been in the studio just working. So I'm excited. I know the fall off might not come out anytime soon because he did release a list, a few years ago about the fall off being the last one, and then I think there might be It's a Boy coming out if you remember from that list. I just hope he drops something because I need some new Cole music. I still listen to my Delete Later like every day because that's like one of the best projects recently, to be honest. Well, to me, in my opinion. And then you got Freddie Gibbs coming out of nowhere, like, yo, how you gonna rap about murdering people, and yet you're not even saying nothing in this rap piece? Like, yo, Freddie Gibbs, sit the fuck down, because if J. Cole wanted to, he would have just destroyed you right now. Like, stop playing, bro. Man, Freddie Gibbs gotta shut the fuck up. He always saying some shit. But like I said, I'm excited for J. Cole's music. I need some more tracks from him. I need a project, something to hold me down. I need him to go on tour again because I want to see him on tour already. I took an L with his anniversary concert. I'm definitely excited for whatever he's got coming out. But that's just for the news. Let's get into our album reviews. So I only got two albums that I want to talk about. Yeah, I know I had said I wanted to talk about, you know, OGZ and West Side Gun and Jacquees and Dej Loaf. But to be honest, I ain't really hear nothing too crazy about people speaking about it. I mean, Dej Loaf and Jacquees dropped a good project. Fuck a Friend Zone 2 is pretty fire. I really enjoyed it. The OGZ album, it was alright, bro. Like, I know I liked a few tracks on it, but then when I actually played it a few more times after it released, I waited like a day or two and then listened to it again and then played it again and again. It was alright. Like I still have the songs that I like, but honestly, it was real repetitive. It wasn't really delivering too much. He wasn't really saying anything like crazy. Some of the features was kind of trash, some of them wasn't. But the next two albums, one of them is one that I was really excited for. The first one is The Final Call from Dave East and Ransom, and then the second one is the Durand Bernarr album. That one I would definitely want to talk about because I like Durand, I like his music, and the album was fire. Like I've played it nonstop. But first, let's get into the rap album. The Final Call, Dave East and Ransom, 10 songs, 35 minutes long. Features are Jay Electronica, Method Man, 22 G's, Abby Jasmine, and Jaden Alexander. So right off the bat, first track in, Ransom, drop bars, went crazy. Expect nothing less. The first two lines was crazy. Ransom said, "Nobody's cold as him. He sings the coldest hymns. Let go of your sins." Like he just hooked me right there. I was like, nah, that was a bar, that was fire. And then the first intro track, like I said, it was pretty dope. Like I was really locked in after that. But it's really just Ransom on the first track, and I feel like did that in a great way because he really delivered, and just his presence and the way he was rapping and his tone pretty much helped set the mood for the entire project. I love the strings on the first track. I love the soul sample he was rapping over. Track two is the title track with Jay Electronica. So again, Ransom started off the song. It's given kind of the same vibes as the last one, but then Dave East had like the second verse and he went crazy. Like he really just like, oh, I know I just had you go crazy on the first song, but now I'm gonna deliver on this one. Dave East is one of my favorite rappers since like 2016. I've been a fan, and he always delivers. I love when he drops projects. I love when he does collab albums with people. I feel like he's very underrated. I remember when J. Cole featured him in one of his videos. He did like a little cameo, and I was excited because I'm like, yo, we about to get J. Cole and Dave East on the track, but nah, it was just a cameo. So that shit kind of just broke my heart a little bit, but we'll get that song one day. Then track three is called Soul Food and Mecca. The beat on this song, it picked up the mood a little bit with the hi-hats and snares. It was kind of like a little trap thing, but it still had like a gospel sample, and I thought that was pretty cool. I love how great they both sound together. It doesn't sound like one is outdoing the other. It's as if they're really just going off each other and just like, okay, this is a collab project, so we're really about to collab. They're pretty much just rapping about how like you got to keep trying to get a W, and then it leads into the next song, By Any Means Necessary. So you got to get the W by any means necessary. So I like that little thing that they try to connect. And this track has a Method Man on it, so he's basically continuing the theme, like I said, from the previous song and just building up on it. Then track five is Mayhem, and the beat on this song is probably one of the best beats I've heard recently. The strings with the kicks and just how dark it sounded was fire. But this also builds up from the theme of the last song. So, you got to keep getting the W by any means necessary. And there's going to be some mayhem. You know what I mean? 22 G's was the feature here. And I think he was probably the best feature on the album because I feel like he really carried the song. His verse was short, but it was definitely one of the best ones. I wish it was a little longer. Al Kabir Beach is track number 6. And the way Ransom was just rapping on this song, it kind of reminded me of Larry June, the way his voice sounded. It was given a similar sound to like Life is Beautiful, which is a collab album with 2 Chainz and Larry June. And I thought that was kind of a coincidence, to be honest, since he sounded like Larry June a little bit. And they're pretty much just rapping about how they getting the money. But I love how Ransom is really just spitting facts, and he kept it 100. And I love how his tone was passive aggressive, to be honest. Track 8 is called Blood and Water. It pretty much piggybacks off track 7 about their experiences and how, regardless of their position or regardless of, what they're doing, they're good. Even though people are still trying to bring them down, they still try to avoid the bullshit and they're still good. And track 9 is Exotic Prayer Rugs. This was a bit more sentimental, especially because of the sample. They both rap about issues that they've been having or had happened to them before with their families. And they're pretty much just reflecting on the track, talking about all that stuff and how things turned out and how are things now. And then the last track is Farewell. I feel like this was a great way to end the album. This is them saying goodbye to their past and, they're moving on to this person that they are right now and, the brighter future and everything. They're leaving everything that they've been through behind and making room for their new life and new experiences and the things that they want, and also trying to enjoy what they earned from all the hard work and everything. But overall, I thought this album was dope. Yeah, it sounded a little repetitive with the soul samples a bit, but honestly, just hearing both of them, drop another collab album was fire. Dave East again, I think he's a GOAT. Ransom, definitely a GOAT. They did kind of reuse some bars at different times, but I didn't think too much about it. I thought it was because it fit what they were trying to say, but the theme was definitely consistent throughout. This whole thing was very cohesive, and I like that it was only 10 songs. I feel like anything longer probably would have hindered it a little bit, but definitely go check it out. It's called The Final Call, Ransom and Dave East. Run that shit up. The last album review is from Durand Bernarr. It's called Bloom. So he randomly just dropped this, and I was really fucking with it. It's an hour and 17 minutes long. Features are God and T-Pain. That's it. Those two. But honestly, I'm really happy it was only two features. I was really fucking with it. So let's get into it. The first track is called Generous. I loved how it opened up with a piano, the piano keys, and his voice is just amazing. I feel like it gets better over time, to be honest. I love the funk elements on this track. The background vocals were great. It helps create this energy that he's trying to convey. And then towards the end, he changes the mood and he pretty much gives us like a little rock send off at the end. I thought that was dope. I always thought that R&B and rock go well together. Like, look at Miguel. He's an amazing and perfect example of that. The transition from like a more R&B sound to a rock sound was perfect. The second track is called Flounce, and this is honestly a dance track. I feel like he delivered on this as well. I love the feature here. Her voice is amazing, and they both really complimented each other on this track. The hook is catchy as fuck too, so definitely run this up. You'll probably hear it around somewhere, but trust me, like that shit really gonna have you hooked. Like no pun intended. Like you're really about to get caught up in that. Track 3 is called Impact, and it kind of carries over the dance sound from track 2 a little bit. Due to the kick and the synths. It does actually sound like Impact the way that the song was produced. And then towards the end, it goes into like a little bit more of an instrumental sound, and the harmonies are just great on this track. And his constant repetition of "Did I do that?" at the end gives kind of like a hypnotic feel. It also reminds me of Family Matters, Steve Urkel. I really enjoyed how he like ended the song with that. It was really dope, honestly, and his falsetto is just fire. The next track is called Jump, and I love the bass and the synths on this. I feel like he's really been fucking with these two sounds on this project, and it's really coming out good. 40 seconds in, he changes the mood and gets into a serious tone, and then he switches between the synths and the kicks. Again, his vocals help everything sound complete, and then the song goes into like a nice trap and beat kind of sound, and he just alternates from each mood to build up the second half of the song. The track after that is called No Business, and to be honest, this gave me like a nice old kind of R&B vibe from the vocals and how the beat just progressed from the beginning. I love the production here. I feel like his production gets better with every project, and he's really experimenting with a lot as well on this album. I love the hook on this song as well, especially when he's like singing it and he like kind of stretches the vowels to emphasize the lyric and to show off his voice as well. I think that's the flex, honestly. The harmonies were amazing as well. Track 6 is called Overqualified. I think he released a video for this as well. I love the falsetto on this song. I love the Congo drums in the back. This was giving me like real Thundercat vibes, from the beat to him singing, the falsetto, the high notes, especially the hook. It was really just Thundercat all around. The track after that is called Unspoken. I like how the previous track, Overqualified, kind of set the mood for this one. From him singing about being too good for someone, and now he's pretty much just like singing about the result from that experience. So this song was still a little different, but I love how he just brought these together. It had like more of a pop feel, to be honest, but I did love the use of strings on here, and I enjoyed how raw and just how natural his voice sounded on this song. The next track is called Completed, and yo, this song is going to have you in your bag. This should have me in my bag. These heartbreak songs that he's like really singing about is crazy. But this song is fire. It's very powerful. It's emotional. I love this falsetto. I love the guitar breakdown. This reminded me of like Miguel's Kaleidoscope Dream album, because of the use of the band and like the rock elements and stuff. But like I said, I enjoyed the emotion. I enjoyed the energy he was giving out, especially him, on the hook yelling out completed. Track 10 is called Reaching, and it's softer and not as emotional as completed, but I really did like how he could switch up the moods. This was an example of him being able to switch up certain moods and themes and still making it sound connected. The track after that is called Psst, which is funny as hell. For some reason, I had like the most difficult time trying to like say the name of the track because I thought it was something else, but then I'm just like, wait, is it really just this simple? But the style in this kind of reminded me of like Erykah Badu. He had like a little jazz feel, and then he had like trumpets in the back. Track 11 is called Here We Are. And I'm telling you, this is just another example of his voice just being phenomenal. This track definitely showed his range. Is another one of my favorite songs, because again, like the use of the band and the strings, he's really showing you like that he knows what he's doing, and he's doing it in a really fun way. Then the next song is called Blast, and I love how softer this was compared to the previous track. I like the instrumentals here. I love the funk elements on this. The bass guitar was fire. And then the next song is called That. That's the song that he has T-Pain on. I think this was released as a single. I believe it was released as a single. I'm not too sure. But this was more of like a modern R&B kind of sound with the trap beats and stuff. T-Pain was cool and the background vocals was alright. And his verse was okay, but I feel like he wasn't really needed. But then again, it's a T-Pain feature, like T-Pain is a GOAT, so I definitely would have still taken it regardless. But I kind of didn't like it as much because I feel like it didn't fit the theme of what he was trying to do and deliver. So it kind of sounded out of place. Track 14 is called Specialty, and he changes the mood here to a softer side with his falsetto. And I love how the beat progresses towards the end. And the last track is called Home Alone. Every time I say Home Alone or see the words Home Alone, I'm always thinking about the movie, and it's just like mad random. I think it's one of like the worst movies ever. I know that's like a crazy take or L take, but I definitely did not enjoy none of those movies. But let me get back to this album though. Again, the last track is called Home Alone. This track is 7 minutes long, and I really was fucking with that. I love when songs are like 7, 8 minutes long. I feel like it's a test. If an artist can make a song that long, and if they could really hook you on for that long, then clearly you're sold and they're doing something right. But in terms of it being this long, I did kind of expect a transition in the middle, but it still was a great way to end the album. It was definitely fire, regardless of that. He definitely like had me hooked and had me interesting in listening to the whole thing. This album was amazing to me. I loved how raw and emotional it is. You get to know more about him as an artist and as a person. He sings and speaks from his experiences, and the way he just delivers on every track is just like really pure. And I love how everything was produced, how everything was composed. Even the track listing itself was pretty perfect, to be honest. Everything was consistent. He sings about growth and love, romance. For example, tracks like Overqualified, Impact, Jump, Unspoken. There's songs where he sings about love, yeah, but it also shows his growth, from his lyrics. It's kind of like a back and forth kind of thing. And I feel like that kind of helped with the theme of the album as well. Then you got tracks like Flaunt, No Business, Completed, Generous, which are about love and romance. And I feel like this is probably going to be one of my favorite albums of the year because his last project was amazing and it had me feeling like this, but this one definitely better than his last one. And I really do see myself listening to this like a lot because I've been playing this a lot since Tuesday. Most of the streams are probably from me, and I'm not ashamed to admit that because he's a dope artist, but definitely go check it out. It's called Bloom. Run it up, reward yourself with this. But that's about it for the episode. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys all had a great week. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Hope you guys all enjoy the music that's coming out so far. It's been pretty dope. This year musically has been a little calmer than last year, considering all the beefs that happened and all like, the big news, but we're still getting some pretty solid releases so far. So I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, follow me on socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, like, download, and subscribe to the videos. If you guys are listening to anything, let me know, send it to me. I'll check it out. Anything that I missed, anything that you guys want me to talk about, check it out as well. Send this to your family, share this to your friends, coworkers, people outside, anybody that could listen, that's cool. Or just anybody in general, to be honest. I'm down for whatever. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.